Travis Wayne Goodsell, the church has done it again. After following my lead in the lawsuit against them, the church constantly is having to make changes to their church, the church, after I file either a motion or now it's emails. But yes, in response, to my shocking, utter demolishment of the church by simply pointing out what's on their buildings, specifically the Salt Lake Temple, specifically the keystone of the arch of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple, the symbol of Lucifer. And so the announcement today, after I sent my email today, which they would have had to have had taken the time to have church service missionaries make the changes as under the direction of the brethren. But they finally came out with it today, after I submit my email, because this wasn't here when I was checking, when I was sending the email. So, General Handbook. Remember when it was released to the public? That's right. Let's see. Not really this is not the link that they provided is not what it is. And they say this handbook will be updated periodically. A list of recent changes is available. List is singular, I guess. Only items are yeah, hold on, I've got to go get my dinner. Alright, enough time wasting eating food. This is more important. This is breaking LDS news. I'm still trying to find it. They're not making it easy to find. I did find this other thing, though, that does have to do with my lawsuit as well. Under 1.3.1, priesthood authority and keys. Notice the vagueness and the scriptures they chose out of all other scriptures. Through the priesthood, God accomplishes the work of salvation and exaltation to all, with taking away their agency, right? The priesthood authority and keys. Notice how they separate it. That's correct. The priesthood authority and keys needed to direct God's work on earth were restored to the prophet Joseph Smith. We don't need the references. Prophet, seer, revelator, translator. These keys are held by church leaders today. You're missing a whole bunch of stuff to lead to that conclusion, which that conclusion is wrong. They call and authorize others to assist in God's work. They don't have a reference for these keys are held by church leaders today. They have it for the next sentence. They call and authorize others to assist in God's work. They selected section 107, verses 8 and 65 and 67. They missed a big important passage there, though. Verse 22. And that's how the keys are passed to the rightful successor. That's right, Mormons. Brigham Young was not authorized. He did not follow verse 22, which the church is purposely misleading us into leaving out. So that's why just going by the manuals only is a brainwashing manipulation tactic. And Mormons blame me for pointing it out. Why am I pointing it out? Because I know the truth. Mormon, born and raised, 50 years. So I'm trying to find the part on occult, and they're not making it easy for me to find. Alright, let's try. Hello? Seriously? The right arrow is not clicking to the next page. Alright, where am I? God's plan. We got through all that. Supporting individual families. Priesthood principles. Restoring the priesthood. Blessings of the priesthood. Melchizedek priesthood. Priesthood authority. Priesthood power. The priesthood and the home. Leadership in the Church of Jesus Christ. Purpose of leadership in the church. Priesthood, principles of leadership in the church. Blah, 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 blah. My God, you guys can keep on going, deleting stuff. This is all worthless. See, that's how Hugh Nibley fooled everybody into thinking he was smart. He just rambled on, created big, thick books that scared everybody into reading it and then thinking he was smart. Throw in a few pictures here and there. Hey, no. He's dumb as a mule. Alright. Of course, there are some smart mules in the Bible. Well, it's not actually a mule, it was more of an ass, a jackass. Church organization, they no longer have the Big B Brethren. It starts at stake leadership now. So what point is there in having the Big B Brethren anymore? Are the Big B Brethren thinking about going away? Or maybe because of some certain lawsuit, they may all be thrown in prison? And they want the stake presidents to then take over? Of course, it's a death penalty. So it will be a death sentence. So yes, the authority of God's church is gone, but they're passing it on to the stake presidents to take over, just like the bishops took over after Jesus and the apostles were all murdered by evil Jews, whom Christians will seek revenge in the latter days when the Jews have nothing to do with anything. They're just victimized by abusive fundamentalist Jews or Christians. Caring for those in need, providing. So this is okay. Why are you not going there? Yeah, they're not. Seriously, what is your problem? Why are you not going there? I want to go there. Go there. Do they know it's me because they know my IP address? Or is this a malfunction in the system? That's more likely. It's been that way before they even knew I was a problem. A current problem. Okay, let's try something else. The occult. Oh my God! I typed in their search engine, the occult, because they are advertising on the church news. They made changes in regards to the occult and how the church is making a statement about it. And so what's the first thing on the top of the search engine list? Light of Christ. Oh my God. Oh my God. Who does this? I don't know any of these people now. This is the new generation, guys. It's not anybody I knew and worked with. Oh dear God. Oh man. There we go. You have to select. You have to select handbook at the top, just under the search. Oh dear God. Okay, occult affiliation 38, church policies and guidelines. Oh my God. Church participation, attendance at church meetings. Cast out, let's see, church members are not to cast anyone out from public meetings, which are held before the world. Well, he was a bishop, he was not a church member. And he extorted me, so I was free to choose. Oh my God. Okay, where's the occult? It's time to change. 50 years old and I'm hitting puberty. No one to share it with. Temple attendance. Yeah, members may receive a temple recommend when they are when they faithfully keep the required commandments and live the gospel of Jesus Christ. So they don't ask you if you are fully paid up on fast offerings, but tithing, yes. If you have not paid a full and honest tithe, you are wicked. Doesn't matter if you're poor, doesn't matter if you got laid off from coronavirus, you're wicked. Just like the rich Zoramites told the poor Zoramites, you're wicked, get out of our synagogues. Oh, what should we do? We don't have a synagogue to testify the rote testimony during the first Sunday of each month. Unwed parents under 18. Oh, this is interesting. Unwed parents. Okay, an unwed young man under age 18, so a child who's a baby daddy, who is going to become a father, or is a father, may participate in his Aaronic priesthood quorum or in the elders' quorum. An unwed young man under 18 in the elders' quorum. This decision is left to the prayerful discretion of the young man, his parents, and the bishop. Yeah. So in other words, it's not according to the young man and his parents. Okay. An unwed young woman. She's a slut whore and must be branded with the scarlet letter A. No, it doesn't say that. It's the same thing. Young women or in Relief Society. Ordinances and blessings policy. General policies. Performing and participating in ordinances and blessings. Translating, interpreting ordinances and blessings. Recording of ordinances. Performing ordinances. Recording the words of ordinances and blessings. Come on. Ordinances for adopted children, ordinances for person with have intellectual disabilities. Screw them, they're evil, and their parents are evil. It's from the pre-existence. If you're unfamiliar with your New Testament stories about Jesus and the apostles asking him the question, was this man born blind a sinner from birth or something his parents did? Yay, science! Bishop consults. Physical disabilities. Procedure when an ordinance is not valid. It's not John D. Lee for committing murder, getting thrown under the bus by the church so that they can protect Brigham Young, who was the one who gave the order. Before the appropriate age, formed again, named and blessing, children born out of wedlock, they're evil. Burn the witch. May be blessed in a usually a fast and testimony meeting. If family prefers, the bishop may authorize Melchizedek priesthood holders to bless the child in the home. because it's a shame. Babies who are critically ill, you may give them a name and a blessing in the hospital. We bless you that you will grow up and meet a nice young man in the temple and marry in the temple, go on a mission and go to college at BYU, get a 4.0. You don't believe that they say those kinds of things in the church? Yeah, this is long, so bear with me as I search for adults involved in plural marriage. What about bigamy? Bigamy? Can you say bigamy, boys and girls? Those of you who are divorced in the church, are you women able to get sealed to another man just by getting approval? Or is there something else that's required before you get approval to marry another man? Bigamy? Can you say bigamy? Just because the church tells you can't have sex doesn't mean you're still not married in accordance with the church's understanding. Bigamy. Yeah. An adult who has previously encouraged, taught, or been involved in the practice of plural marriage must receive approval? From the First Presidency before he or she may be baptized and confirmed? What if they've already been baptized and confirmed? Do they still need approval? The first president, the mission president, now this, the request should provide information about the person's past involvement in plural marriage and his or her subsequent repentance and current family situation. So yes, if you're a Mormon, you can practice polygamy now. You have to wait until you become a member, then you can practice it. The first presidency have to approve the woman. Oh, sorry, no, she's too hot. You can't be married to her. She's mine. Prima nocta. Cohabitated out of wedlock. You're gonna burn in hell, sinner, whores. Come on, where's the occult? The sacrament, ordaining the office, Aaronic priesthood, other circumstances, prospective elders, consecrating oil, desecrating homes, patriarchal blessings, translation, sign language, second patriarchal blessings. Apparently, if you have a good reason to want one, you can get one. Where's the occult? It's probably down at the bottom. There's civil marriage. We encourage members to pay a full tithe to qualify for temple marriage. Who may perform? When permitted by local law, the following currently serving church leaders may act in their calling. No, sorry, anybody who has the Melchizedek priesthood, not leaders. That means the church has purposely deceived Utah in this regard so that Melchizedek priesthood holders can't perform marriage ceremonies. civil marriage ceremonies. It should even be marriage ceremonies, because when you're a Melchizedek priesthood holder, you go through the temple, and what happens in the temple? You are washed. What are you washed for? What do you become by being washed? A high priest? And then you're anointed. What are you anointed to become hereafter? To rule and reign in the house of Israel forever? A king. Melchizedek. A Christ. And that's not good enough? Being a Christ is not good enough to perform weddings? 23 minutes. Come on, guys. Where is it? Issuing temple recommends who have committed serious sin by filing a lawsuit against the church. Shame on you, Travis. Members who identify as transgender. Of his or her birth sex. Sex reassignment. It's not really birth sex, because sometimes the birth sex can have complications in the development of the embryo. Because we all start out as females, and then there's a pivot point where the DNA is supposed to trigger for males, and sometimes it doesn't click over as it should. There's an error in the DNA code preventing development. Sometimes it could be because of a mother's word of wisdom violations, drinking too much Mountain Dew. But they don't want to acknowledge that, despite having a medical doctor as their CEO right now. Sealing policies. Where's the occult? Selling children to parents. Adopted. Sealing cancellation. When an apostle of the church is arrested for capital crimes, his sealings are canceled, as John D. Lee's were supposed to have been. A few policies in this section are about matters that the church discourages. Members usually do not experience membership restrictions because of their decisions about these matters. Yay, we can do them! However, all people are ultimately accountable to God. You're gonna burn in hell! But you're free to choose. So abortion, you can do abortions now. Church legalizes abortions. There you go. There's the video subject. Church allows abortions. Church allows abuse. Oh dear God. Wait a minute. Abuse cannot be tolerated in any form. But, wait a minute. These are policies that matters that the church discourages. Church members usually do not experience membership restrictions for abuse? What the bleepity bleeply bleep? Oh dear God. And then the abuse hotline, so that the victim of abuse can be further victimized. And counseling children of youth or youth abuse. The church holds no responsibility in lawsuits for abused people in the church. Church callings, temple recommends record annotations. Okay, it's more on abuse. They say should not be given callings, but the church doesn't matter. You can get callings and temple recommends and membership records annotated. Stake and ward councils, nope, they can't be punished, remember. Legal issues. If they happen to violate applicable laws, oh my God! So yes, women, you can now be artificially inseminated. So yeah, you're at that point in your life where you've established a career and you're educated and you're unmarried because of that choice. And now all your choices are losers in life. You can now be artificially inseminated. The church will not punish you because you're now an unwed mother. Birth control. We can now practice birth control. Wow. Thank God. We can now be immoral. Oh, they have changed it because this is the Lord's law of chastity, which should be in the temple. Abstinence from sexual relations outside of a marriage between a man and a woman according to God's law. So that is slightly changed from the previous temple that Nelson changed it to, allowing polygamy, because God's law is polygamy. And you have to be a Mormon to practice polygamy now. You can't be from anybody else outside wanting to become a Mormon to practice or continue to practice polygamy. Oh dear God! Do you see what I'm telling you? This was not done by the prophets and apostles. They just say, oh great, you did it for us, thank you, we approve it, publish it. That's it. That's how it's done. And that's the process we went through. But we were told, oh, you've got to make sure you do everything. You cannot do your own information. You've got to have a source quote from a prophet, the president specifically, or from another passage in Scripture. And yet, this is all church service missionaries' opinions. And thus, it's so easy to make fun of. Although Nelson has done some beauties in his term as president now, he is the only apostle and president whom I can find who claims that the 1979 and 1981 editions of the Mormon Scriptures were the fulfillment of the Ezekiel prophecy. The only one. Dear God. Oh, we can watch pornography now. Yay! Women in bikinis. It's okay now. It's not pornography. It depends on which Mormon you go to as to what pornography means to them. and many go by the regular ratings of movies rather than the ones that were designated specifically for pornography, such as X, XX, and XXX. And if you don't understand women especially. What does it mean when you get all uncomfortable and angry at either the man looking or the image in whatever artistic medium is being used to view? And when you express yourself by saying, this is horrible, this is pornographic, and it doesn't matter which level, whether it's a G-rated showing of the belly button, like I Dream of Jeannie, she was banned because she started showing the belly button. Or full-on two people are hugging each other. Chief Wiggum's son in a Simpsons episode. But the third criteria from the Supreme Court of the United States of America that made this decision on what constitutes obscene material, pornography, as we've currently defined it, says that if it is artistic, educational, for scientific purposes, or that's pretty much it, I guess, then it's not pornographic. Nobody reads that part. Nobody cares to read that part, because tell me of a situation where a woman, her image, is not utilizing any of the various forms of art mediums. Let's go back in time, shall we? Sculpting. Well, that's an art medium, not pornography. Painting. Art medium, not pornography. Photographs. Art medium, not pornography. Magazines. Art medium, not pornography. That's why Playboy and then Hustler won their lawsuits. TV. Art medium, not pornography. And thus movies, and thus online on streaming services, not pornography, because of the third qualification in the Supreme Court judgment. And everybody purposely misses that point. Everything is art when it is a copy of the original. And when anybody shames an image, such as a Barbie doll, oh, that's not realistic, it's degrading to women. Is it degrading to women? Or are you degrading women, using an idol as the basis for judgment? Think about that. We still haven't gotten to Occult. We're almost halfway down the page. You can donate and sell your sperm or eggs. You can mutilate your genitalia. You can do fertility treatments. Incest. It's okay. Oh dear God. And they have to define what incest is. A parent and a child, a grandparent and a grandchild, siblings, an uncle or aunt, and a niece or nephew. If you know about the porn categories, you don't need to worry about this. But incest is okay. That's what they're saying. You won't be excommunicated for incest. You won't be disciplined for incest. You can be an unwed, incestuous relationship parent, and they won't touch you. Here's the occult. See, here's pornography. We already went through pornography, but here, the church condemns pornography in any form. I thought you don't punish anybody. And they don't, because it's listed under these. The church discourages, but we don't discipline. So yes, pornography is okay. And I went over why it's okay, when you can understand the difference. All these psycho nonsense quacks have no clue as to what they're talking about. Don't listen to them. They are not experts in the field. They are not a hard science doctor. The occult. And we'll end here as we've gone into 40 minutes plus the previous several minutes that I did before my dinner. And we're getting to 5 o'clock. That which is of God is light, and light is the Illuminati, and the Illuminati symbol is the star Venus, and it is the inverted pentagram of whom our God is that we worship. There you go. It's okay to be a part of the occult. The occult focuses on darkness? No, they don't. The Illuminati is a cult. They focus on illumination, light bearer, and leads to deception. Leads to deception. I think calling light or darkness light, that's pretty deceptive in and of itself. I don't think it leads to it. It destroys faith in Christ. Lucifer christens his followers, their Christ. The occult includes Satan worship. No duh. Lucifer? They don't even reference Isaiah 14:12. It also includes mystical, like Jewish mysticism that Smith Sr. was involved in and has a whole bunch of stuff put in the Book of Mormon about. Oops. Yeah, Jewish mysticism is okay. The church is telling Mormons in advance, before they find out that Joseph Smith was involved in Jewish mysticism, and the Book of Mormon has Jewish mysticism. Let me show you. Written by the finger of God. He goes over all the Book of Mormon passages discussing Jewish mystical principles, including the Tree of Life dream that Joseph Smith Sr. had after becoming a Jewish mystic in the New Israelites, a Congregationalist Christian religion in Vermont, which was stopped because Nathaniel Wood had the wood scrape incident where he predicted the end of the world. He gathered all his followers to their church there in Vermont, and the townspeople got scared, called in the militia. Militia broke him up. Nathaniel Wood left in disgrace. And the Cowdreys and the Smiths, well, the Smiths eventually had to, when they moved to Massachusetts, right across the border to the school so that Hiram can get educated. And that's the doctor who helped fix Joseph's leg. So, yeah. See what the church is doing to you. They're purposely deceiving you. Leads to deception. The occult, which the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the arch of the door of the Salt Lake Temple says that the doctrines of Lucifer are taught within. Leads to deception. Yes, indeed, it sure does, doesn't it? activities that are not in harmony with the gospel of Jesus Christ. What is the keystone of the religion, Mormons? The Book of Mormon. And it's full of Jewish mysticism. Because Martin Harris burnt up the 116 pages. Because it had too much Freemasonry in it. He was getting uncomfortable because he was in the council of anti-Masons in Palmyra. But he had money, and Joseph Smith Jr. had worked for him on his farm. And so Joseph, all he had to do was distract Martin Harris with his little hat trick, and they could get away with publishing it. But nope, Martin Harris was uncomfortable with the level of Freemasonry in the first 116 pages, so he destroyed it. Joseph Smith lost his firstborn son with Emma, and so they got booted out of the Methodist Church in Harmony, Pennsylvania. And so they and her family, her parents, were kicked out of Harmony, and so they got resettled in Susquehanna, Pennsylvania instead. But Joseph slips up in the 1838 history and says Harmony, Susquehanna, Pennsylvania. Oops. Such activities include, but are not limited to, fortune telling, curses. Don't we wipe our feet on people's houses and townships? Healing practices that are imitations of priesthood power of God, of course. Oh, God. Yeah, it's just, oh my God. Church members should not engage in any form of Satan worship. Hey! There it is! Yes! Yes! They're telling the Mormons to leave the church. Or participate in any way with the occult. Oh, that's hilarious. They should not focus on such darkness in conversations or in church meetings. Oh, man. That is hilarious. There's my title. And there we end. Because there's still more we can do. Oh my God. I'm putting this over the picture of the inverted pentagram from the Salt Lake Temple. And that's going to be my thumbnail.